Hey guys, Juan here from Impaktech USA, and today we have a 2025 Yamaha R7 in for an install. We are going to be installing our world famous Impaktech Crash Cage and our rear adjustable subcage. For the Crash Cage, we went with this beautiful matte white finish. The 2025 Yamaha R7 does have a little bit of white over the R7 logo, so we decided to try to match it as best as we can. Remember, on the website, we only offer raw and black. We do this to avoid any sort of long wait times. Raw and black are always going to be in stock and ready to ship. If you want to get a custom color, what we recommend is order the cage in raw. Raw basically means it's not going to come with any powder coating, and then you can take it to your local powder coater and have them powder coat it in any color you'd like. On the website, we do have a section under helpful links that says color code chart. If you click on there, you'll actually be able to access any color code chart that we've used on any of our previous builds or any builds on our social media platforms. The installation is very simple and straightforward. There is absolutely no cutting involved. You do not have to do any sort of cutting. Everything is 100% bolt-on. So let's go ahead and get started. Step number one, make sure to have something underneath your motor to support it. You do not want your motor to sag at all once you remove the left or the right side motor mount bolt. We are going to begin working on the right side. Right side is throttle side. I'm going to go ahead and grab a 17mm socket and break the main engine mount bolt. Remove this cover. You're going to use a 6mm Allen. Grab a 4mm Allen and remove this bolt here. We are trying to gain access to the rear all thread, so we're just going to remove this bolt so we can move the lines a little bit easier. Once we remove that bolt, we can easily push this back and access this rear all thread. Now we just moved over to the left side. That's going to be the clutch side. We're going to grab a 6mm Allen and we're going to remove this cover here. Remove the shifter linkage. It's going to be a 6mm Allen. The reason why we remove that is to access the sprocket cover. Now go ahead and remove these with 5mm Allens. Get that cover out the way. We have the rear all thread exposed on the other side. We're gonna grab a 14mm socket, use a breaker bar, and get that broken. Once you remove that nut, you can now remove that rear all thread. Now, grab both of the black steel brackets that you received in your hardware pack. Both brackets are gonna be identically the same size, and both brackets are gonna come with two 9/16 cross bar bolts on the top. The only difference between the brackets is one of them is gonna have a threaded pitch, the other one is gonna be open. The side that has the open pitch, go ahead and put that on the right side of the motorcycle. That's going to be the throttle side. And this bracket that has the threaded pitch is going to go on the left side of the motorcycle. That's going to be the clutch side. Grab the side that has no thread pitch, place it behind the opening of the all thread. Now grab your stock all thread and make sure the stock washer is on there. And we're going to insert that bolt in between the bracket. Now grab the bracket with a threaded pitch, and once the all thread bolt has been in, we're just gonna move it back a little bit. We're gonna have somebody on the other side thread it into the bracket. So we're gonna grab the bracket here, make sure to get all of these lines out of the way, and then go ahead and start threading. Once the bracket is on, make sure it's a little bit loose. We don't want to tighten the all thread all the way. Once we install the crash cage, we want to make sure there's a little bit of wiggle room here so we can line it up properly. Once everything's lined up, then we can torque everything down. In the meanwhile, go ahead and remove these 9/16 bolts on both sides. Now, before we install the crash cage, we're going to go ahead and remove this exhaust shield. The lower crossbar cannot be installed unless this exhaust shield has been removed. The exhaust shield from factory isn't going to provide you with much shielding at all, especially with the size of it, so just go ahead and get rid of it. If you get the Impaktech race rail for the Yamaha R7, you can leave this exhaust shield on. Grab the right side of the crash cage now so you can see how the crash cage is going to mount. The rear section is going to go on those brackets, and then the middle section is going to go directly to your main motor mount bolt. You're going to grab the hardware that we provided you with. Both sides are going to be identically the same. You're going to go ahead and remove that spacer, and you're going to insert the main engine mount bolt with the crush washer through the middle. Now grab the spacer and put that right behind the bolt. Now we can go ahead and install this on the main motor mount bolt. You're gonna grab a 19mm socket and start to slowly thread in the engine mount bolt once again. Now, you wanna make sure that you do not tighten this all the way. You wanna make sure that there's still a little bit of wiggle room, because now we're gonna move to the back section and grab a 9/16 crossbar bolt and attach that to the black bracket. We're gonna align the crash cage to the bracket. This is why we keep everything loose, to ensure that everything goes smoothly. Grab your 9/16 socket and then start to thread that into the bracket. Now grab the crossbar, and the side that we're gonna insert first is gonna be the side with the bend. The bend is gonna go right here to make this bend through the exhaust bracket hanger. Go ahead and remove the crossbar bolts once again. We're gonna reuse these right now. Through here, we're gonna be very careful. We don't wanna scratch the crossbar, and we don't wanna scratch any of the fairings on the motorcycle. Have somebody on the other end of the motorcycle grab that crossbar as well. Once we get the crossbar in, grab that 9/16 crossbar bolt, and we're just gonna snugly put it in. You don't wanna over tighten it right now, because if you do, the other side has nothing to hang to, and this is just gonna wanna go up or down, and it can cause to scratch your fairings. So just have it on there for now. Now we're on the other side of the motorcycle. We're literally gonna do the exact same thing. Once that's broken, we can go ahead and install the crash cage. You're gonna install the 9/16 bolt at the rear end, and then the other crossbar bolt down here. Grab the Impaktech provided hardware, get that through the middle, and then we're gonna put the Impaktech provided spacer right on the back here. Same thing, grab that black bracket and just move it to align that right through the cage. 9/16 crossbar bolt, and then get that installed. All right. We're gonna grab the 9/16s and just connect that right on the bottom. All right, now we're almost done. Now we can go ahead and torque everything. For the main motor mount bolt, I want you to torque it to 32 foot-pounds. Okay. For the rear crossbar bolt with the black bracket, 15 foot-pounds. Okay. And the bottom crossbar is 15 foot-pounds of torque. Once everything's torqued down, we'll go ahead and reinstall all of the covers, and then we can install the Delrin pucks and then the Impaktech sticker. It's very important that you start with the main motor mount bolts. Make sure to get those torqued down first, and then we can torque down the rear brackets, and then finally the crossbar. Now that we have everything on the crash cage torqued down, grab your 14 mil and go back to that stock all thread bolt and just make sure that's tightened real well. There's no true torque spec for this. Just make sure you go pretty snug. That way that bolt does not back out. And once again, a quick reminder, you don't need a nut on the other end, okay? All right, guys, so we're pretty much done with the crash cage install. What I want you to do now is all of the stock plastics, put them right back on. Now, you should have received 4 Delrin pucks. Each Delrin puck is gonna have a pilot hole, and the crash cage is gonna have a pilot hole. Make sure to just line up those pilot holes, and grab your 10mm tech screw, and just impact that in. All right, guys, so for the adjustable subcage, the install is very, very simple. It shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. All you have to do is remove both your passenger pegs, and the mounting points on your passenger pegs are gonna be these new mounting points on the bracket. It is very, very simple. We're not gonna do a step-by-step, but we're just gonna include some clips of us doing it so you guys can get that installed as well. Remember that the adjustable subcage is fully adjustable. This subcage is not only for stunt riders. This can be used for a passenger. Mainly the use is gonna be for it to protect your rear subframe. On these brand new Yamaha MT-07s and the Yamaha R7, the frame and the subframe are one piece. The subframe is not separate. So if you were to damage your subframe, the bike is considered salvage because now you have frame damage. So make sure to get an adjustable subcage. I'm gonna go ahead and include here a video of a Ninja ZX6R so you can actually see how the crash cage and the adjustable subcage work in protecting your motorcycle.